by Gulliver Pictures. It's a good book. It used to be in the art paper. Look at that, it's a Jasmosaur. We're just looking at dinosaurs. By Zdenek, Burian, with editor Michael Benton. Life Before Man. It was copyrighted. By Zdenek, Burian and Spinar, published in 1972 when I first read it. They did the paperback edition, which is this one, 1995. So it's about the birth of the solar system, the Cambrian area, the Paleozoic era and Mesozoic era, Tertiary, Quaternary era, classified list, Chimbo, and the glossary. So I'm not going to read through that because it's all text. Here's some stuff about the times. This is as of the 70s, so there's whippersnappers have done stuff since then. There's Cambrian area with a nice little thing that shows you where all animals went. And there's some text. First, there was volcanoes. The Earth's surface was formed 600 million years ago. It was all of that. Then it cooled off a little bit. Cooled off. Then, about 3,500 million years ago, there was life in the seas. First, there was water and organisms. And then, look, it sort of kind of looks like a landscape. This is by the end of that age. Then it goes to Permian, Devonian, Silurian, Ordovician, Cambrian. Just look more. There's things like the world starting like that, and plants, and more plants. Plants are really important. See, there's basic plants, and there's it's animal. It's a trilobite. It's me. Hello, we're looking at this book. This book here is like we're just walking through it beginning to end. There's a nice Eurypterid. There's a nice drawing of a graptolite. And there's a fish. First, there was jawless fishes. From Silurian era, jawless fishes. Then there was these kind of fishes, which are more like what you know. There were jaws, the first jaw fishes were in Anthemans. It shows you some nice stuff about the skeletons. And there's a nice picture of Spinar. And then real fishes. Time for real fishes. Look, it's an ancient fish. Trilobite. And some more bony fishes. These aren't really famous, but they're important because the dinosaurs need something to eat. Then the fishes, like the coelacanth, that guy, and this guy. And then the first they were lobe-finned fishes in the Carboniferous. And then they had amphibians. And they started to develop from the fish skull to the amphibian skull. Then, this is just, I'm trying not to read all the time. And they started to make things a little more familiar, like that amphibian. And that's a skeleton. And they were napsids. And that looks a little more familiar. Like mammal-like reptiles, bars, and napsids. Like Spinacodon and Lycanops. Then, got ones that kind of look like that. That was the end. Next comes the Cambrian. The ocean. There's things in the ocean, it's pretty. There's some nice jellyfish kind of things. SpongeBob would be happy. Though he would probably because a lot of scary things. Some horseshoe crabs. And some trilobites, which is a very common fossil. And you look at this page. Everybody's swimming under the sea with the trilobites and the clams and the ocean, the water. This is land. Look, there's stuff on the land. There's some shallow seas and some plants that are adapting to dry land. And then more complicated stuff under the water, more trilobites. This is in the Mordovacan. And then most of the Silurian. And we look at clams and shells, things under the water, and it's pretty. And some nautiluses and things. And then land got a little bit different, a little bit closer to normal. This is in the Silurian period, still no dinosaurs. And then the Devonian things start growing and looking more normal. Well, more closer, there's water, there's a lot of plants. See how there weren't any flowers because it was the Devonian. They had desert. Then better fish, this guy, and then these fish. And over here they had more plated armored fish. And they had this guy. You find this guy in the museum Denictus. So Dunkleus, he's huge fish. Go and bite these smaller eyes. And then these guys, which weren't so terrible. And look, it's more land. Look at the amphibians. They're important. Amphibians in lakes and trees. And then sometimes there were volcanoes. Stuff. And then, see how the land is kind of developing and changing. There's more plants. And this one is not really about dinosaurs. There's more trees. In the Carboniferous, which is where gold comes from. And look, there's a dragonfly. And there's some actual amphibians biting. There's freshwater shark pleurocanthus. Oh, scary. And then a Diplodocus. And then there were storms. And rain and stuff and blowing the trees over. There were often tornadoes in the Carboniferous. Let's skip that. This page was... I mean to skip it. It's probably good. This page. There was the Adaphosaurus. And I used to think Adaphosaurus were good and Dimetrodons were bad, but they're not good or bad. The other one you're probably used to is Dimetrodon, which had a similar sail, but fiercer teeth. This is what the land looked like. And here's some more trees. The Permians. And it shows more species in the Permian. And then things started, reptiles. Reptiles, Semoria. Actually, this one is down there, Semoria. And this guy here, Dectis. He was a reptile. And that one down here in the water was Discurcus. And this guy is hunting over here. And then we have some cool. This guy, we know him. We know him from Land of the Lost. It's Dimetrodon. Look at that sail. His sharp teeth. And he would hunt this guy out here. He's more interesting though. If you had old dinosaurs, you probably remember these guys. Muscops. They used to have very old Marx muscops. They were herbivorous, but they did look kind of fierce. And then there were these guys, which was Scutosaurus, a Periosaur. Very nice painting here. And this guy here is Sarcotonus, who would hunt a Scutosaur. And then this Mesosaurus, which is one of the first marine reptiles. So now we're getting Mesozoic era, which is the fun one. See all the continents changing. And they had different plants, and they had better bugs than this kind of fish. And they had better frogs. And they had, this is the family tree, going down to Polycosaurus and Veranosaurus. And showing some stuff about how the time periods go. And bones, you need bones. And there's some dinosaur bones. There's a Tarbosaurus skeleton and the Camptosaurus skeleton, showing you the difference between the lizard hips and the bird hips. See, they're different. And then more interesting dinosaurs. And there's plants. It's more interesting now. Hey, this is, yeah, it's a good book. Really nice art. It's a little old, but it's beautiful. This is Mixosaurus, who was a ichthyosaur. This is Milthosaurus. Here's a nice turtles. That's a Progonocales, so those ones would go on the land. And those are Placodonts who had teeth that were shaped to eat the clams and stuff. And here he is biting the clams. Oh, bite the clams. And swimming under the water. And there's a, look, it's a dinosaur. Saltopasuchus. He's a real dinosaur. He's not very big. And they were still Dictynodonts. And then here's a home Henodus. And let's look at it a little closer. And some crocodiles. There were plenty of crocodiles. Okay. Bring it in here. And then here's some ones, some dinosaurs, and some more dinosaurs. And that's all for now. Okay, thanks. We'll see more tomorrow.